We are back. We are back. Oh my goodness. What a time to be alive. It's 2023. May have thought we would be gone, but no, we are back with another episode. I can't remember what number this is, but we're back for 2023. We're ready to go. I'm here with Venom for Snatchy.
Yo.
Hey, Greg Bird. And we're back to talk about video games. A couple of things we've changed. You know, we're going to try and add reactions. We're going to be reacting to content. And that's just one of the things we thought we should add in to try to, get more to the things we want to talk about. And that's what we want to do here. We just want to have a good conversation, have a good time. And so welcome to the Connect. So now, what is on the agenda for today? What are we currently playing, guys? What are we into right now since this year started?
You guys go ahead.
All right. Well, I've actually gone back in time. I talk about playing roguelikes a lot on here, but I went and started playing the Binding of Isaac again, which I always thought was okay. But now I'm playing it again, and I'm kind of like getting more of a feel for the game. And I know it's been like years, but whatever. Now I'm realizing this is probably the best roguelike. Like it's the possibilities are endless. Like you can do. Yesterday I managed to somehow start spawning these little Darth Vaders. So I had an item called C-section that like spawns like babies from you. Then I had another item that gives you a lightsaber. Then I had another item that like makes you spawn like laser beams. So I was like literally spawning like little Sith Lords or lightsabers that were shooting lightning at people. It's like what?
You had me at lightsaber.
That's insane.
Like, it gets so crazy.
Wow.
But if you're not like until you get to a certain skill level, you're likely never to see something like that. You just die.
Yeah. Sounds amazing. We've talked about this, and ever since you've been hype about Binding of Isaac, and you were telling me how like Hades, you thought that was like the best one, but now you're kind of leaning towards Binding of Isaac, and it made me want to play it. Like so,
it's difficult because on a base gameplay level, I would still say Hades and Dead Cells I like more, but it's like once Isaac gets rolling, it's nothing else like it.
Right.
I do like how in Hades and Dead Cells you start off strong, like not as strong as you can get, but you don't feel like you're gimped. Like you feel like I can do this. But in Isaac, you're weak when you start off. It can take multiple like minutes to kill like a boss on the first floor if you don't get the right item. It's terrible sometimes.
Right.
But
I
also bought I bought a game called I bought East 9. It was on sale.
East 9,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, and I started playing it. And then I realized, holy shit, I have so many games in my backlog. Why am I starting another one? But I like East. I've only played I think like one of the ones on the PSP. I want to say it was like either 5 or 6. And I played 8. So East is pretty fun. It's one of those series I would like to do like a more deep dive. Honestly, that whole company in general, I think the company that makes these games is called Falcon.
Yes.
They also make Trails in the Sky, Legend of Cold Steel. I want to get more into their whole thing.
Yeah, I recently bought a Trails game. Yeah, it seems good.
Was it Sky or Cold Steel? Because it's like two different versions, like the old classic version and the modern version.
I can't remember their titles are kind of like the weakness. Like I don't know. But it's one of the ones that came out for Steam. It's not Cold Steel. It's one of the older ones. Like it's like it looks like a classic JRPG, and I'm playing it with my wife. So
that's the one I got. I think it's called Trails in the Sky. That's the girl on the front.
It might be. Yeah,
I think that's the same one I have. I think.
And it is good. Like it reminds me of the same thing of like Chrono Trigger and it's the first Star Ocean. Like those games have just a lot of surprises in them, a lot of story things. 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. I'll definitely have to edit that out. There's no doors in this house, so I have to monitor my sound. But yeah, so you're playing Yeast 9. There's a new Yeast coming out. It's going to be apparently have more ocean content. Maybe they're getting into like ship content as well. So I'm definitely interested.
Not again.
I'm currently playing Yeast 8.
Yeast 8 is really good.
But I'm working back to get to Yeast 9 and then eventually Yeast 10 when it comes out. So I love that series. Same.
I still have PTSD from when Nintendo went all wacky water worldness when I was high school with Mario Sunshine and the Wind Waker.
Yeah.
It's like water thing, roll guy. What's going on here?
What was that? Pokemon, was that Sapphire and Ruby?
Yes, that was also water thing.
Full of water. Yeah.
Speaking of Pokemon, are you still playing the new Pokemon game?
Man, no, because it's not because I think it's bad. It game goes so slow. Like, why does everything have to take so long?
Yeah.
Like, if that game was sped up like 10%, I would probably have beaten it by now.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to train your Pokemon, but you get into a battle and it takes like all this time, and it's like you get so little experience. I just like, nah, I'm good.
Awesome.
But it's funny, right? Because you have the patience for what you have the patience for. Because I played Fire Emblem 4, and that is a slow game. Right. Let me tell you, that game is slow. Like, it's slow in the sense that it's one of the later Super Nintendo games, and I really feel like the Super Nintendo itself cannot keep up with the computations of the map just being so big. So the game literally lags. Like, right. The enemy turns, it's like 50 enemies, and it take like a good 3 seconds in between each enemy for that's when it's really slow.
Right.
But I don't probably play that, so I don't know.
Awesome.
What's the deal? Oh, also, one more thing. I kind of want to just leave this here as like a running counter. So, I've been trying to beat Mario 64, like get all 120 stars since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I bought the Anniversary Edition that came out during the pandemic. I have it. I'm slowly doing it. So one of these days, I'll hop on this podcast and say, guys, I did it. So it's not so
what does that take to do?
Basically, to beat the game, you only need 70 stars, which I'm at right now. I can beat it, but to get everything, you have to get every star at every level. You have to get 100 coins in every level. And then there's like some secret stars sitting around the castle, like, jump through this painting and it's a slide and this little stuff like that. Yeah. And honestly, what's holding me up is honestly, I'm trying to get 100 coins in the sand level, and good lord, I keep dying.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems hard, but I'm getting there.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome.
I'll keep you guys updated on my progress. Right now I'm at 70.
Hey, that's what's up. Venom, you want to go or you want me to
go? I can go. I haven't been playing a lot of different stuff lately, but I've been heavy into Midnight Suns. Just really enjoying really enjoying the card play and the tactical battle of it all. Like, it's feels so rewarding. Did we speak about this game on here?
What game is
have
this?
You played it?
May have
the last time, Midnight Suns?
Last time.
Midnight Suns, okay, I thought you had something else.
Right.
We may have touched on it the last time, I don't remember.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But really enjoy like the interaction between the characters in the Abbey. Some genuine like laugh out loud moments, mostly from Magic. And it's cool that it highlights some of the smaller characters from around the Marvel universe that you don't get to see so much of. I remember this one. This is Batman. Okay, I'm tuned in now. And really enjoying it. Unlocked all of the characters except for one. I'm there on the end of the game now. I've been going for the platinum, so I had to change up my gameplay style with my main character. But yeah, I'm just enjoying the grind of it all and slowly progressing towards the end of the game.
So you're going towards the platinum. How often do you go for platinum? I'm asking you, like, this is good. You're into this. Yeah. So obviously I'll go for games that I'm really into. If a game offers, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a balance between doing things I wouldn't normally do and
how like attainable some of the trophies are. I like, for example, Cyberpunk. I didn't go for the platinum just because it was asking you to do. It was like, I don't know, throw a grenade back at an enemy or do this with a pistol 6 times. And Cyberpunk wasn't a game where I wanted to invest in every single playstyle. I would do that if I was doing multiple playthroughs, but I decided not to. So that, and then there were similar challenges like that in Deathloop, for example, where you had to like go through this one level without using a shield or do this one thing, and it was interesting in the way that it got you to play in different ways and you think about the game differently. But I just, at the time, I just wasn't willing to do that challenge. So it's kind of, I try and strike a balance between what I'm willing to do and to challenge myself to do, and how much I'm enjoying the game, or whether I need to replay the game. If it's like beat it on the toughest difficulty, I tend not to do it unless I've already played through it on that difficulty. I hate stuff like that. I don't want to replay a game just for one trophy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I do, yeah, if it's something that is attainable and I think I'll have fun doing, then yeah, I'll go for the platinum. Knock out all the trophies.
Nice.
Because it's interesting. I've only gotten like maybe 3 platinum trophies. One was by accident. Because it was a special levels type of game. And once I got all the endings, you got the platinum. Like, oh, nice.
Those are the best ones, right? Because it was something you wanted to do regardless of the fact there was a trophy attached to it.
I was going to get those endings. Yeah. And the other 2 are Dark Souls and Elden Ring, which, I crack out on those, so whatever. And Bloodborne, of course. That's it.
Right.
A lot of times I see those and it's like, oh, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, like I haven't got things.
It's always like a gold trophy that's like absolutely ridiculous.
Nice.
Stuff like that I don't bother with. I got the Persona 5 one though. That's a tough one.
Nice. Awesome. I'm a huge fan of that game. I bought it twice. So I'm really want to support that company because I love what they did with that. And although I have not, just because of my life situation, I have not been able to really sit down and play games the way I used to, which is a huge change for me. I have been playing some things. I only can do like one mission of Midnight Suns before like my life completely rips me from the game. Because I'm like teaching my daughter now, like it's real. life is real now. So for me, like I've like had to like really restructure like how I play video games, and it really does affect how I even think about video games. Like when you lose time, like the stuff that, because I remember we talked about The Witcher, and like I'm playing The Witcher. That's like the number one thing I was playing because I'm trying to attack a backlog, and The Witcher is not really a backlog for me, but it kind of is because I didn't finish the DLC, and that's something that I will do. So with the PS5 upgrade, I've been playing that, and man, we talked about this. I remember playing that game the first time, and I wasted a lot of time. With that game. Like, I'm going through the story so much faster now, and I'm skipping so much unnecessary stuff that I realize, like, just how many things I like. The fun of the game, I think, for me before was like going off and doing things that had nothing to do with the quests, and then the side quests, the stories and things.
That's good though, right?
Yeah, it's good, but like now it's more like focused and linear. Like, I'm getting through it. It's just such a different experience. Like the game feels different. Because like before, how can I say this? It was more immersive because I was Geralt. Like when you're going around the world and you're just doing random things, you're killing wolves and chopping down beehives and getting random materials and killing random bandits off of horses, and riding around with Roach, and Roach is running into people and killing them hilariously, and you're messing around with your powers and everything. And then you go do the story. It's like you've done all of these things that builds this other story that adds to the story. Like you've already spent 3 hours doing this and then like 20 minutes doing the story.
Yeah.
Now that I've cut all of that out, it's just not. It's not the same. I'm not saying it's worse, but it's just
okay.
It's just different. I don't. Witcher feels different, and I fully invested in Gwent. I never finished Gwent, so I've been playing a lot of Gwent. If you don't know what it is, it's the card game inside the game. I love Gwent, and I love these inside the game card games. And that's the other thing. Like with Genshin Impact, it's kind of like Genshin is huge, but I still play it every day. And they added this, like I said in the last couple episodes we've done, they added TCG. It was a trading card game inside the game. And to be honest, like I've struggled with it. Not that it's not good, but I've struggled with like being good at it. Like I repeatedly lose to like some of the harder challenges. I'm struggling to build my deck, and I've recently hit a groove with it, and I was winning and getting better at it, and it was feeling rewarding. And I realized that like I haven't had that feeling with Genshin in a while because I essentially beat the game. And so I really do feel like Genshin TCG was a really good addition. But I've had to avoid, unfortunately, Genshin content on it because it's the only challenging content that people could make content on. And then like I was consuming Genshin content at a regular pace. So when they start releasing Genshin TCG stuff, which they haven't released a lot of it, I had to avoid it because the moment they give me the OTK build or a deck or the one turn kill deck, it ruins the whole experience for me. Right. So I've been avoiding this is the best deck because I just want to figure it out myself. Like building the deck that finally worked was so rewarding for me because I had to go through so many, like losing to the NPC was so, I hate losing, Venom. I hate close, like dying over and over again. But you know what? After going through Midnight Suns, it opened me up, because you had went on to like the higher difficulty before me, and when I was able to 3-star my first Ultimate 3, it was so rewarding. You asked me, I was kind of hesitant to use the word exactly rewarding, but it was. And so I'm trying to keep that in mind with TCG. So being as though I have less time to play video games, I've been going on playing a match of TCG. I might lose, and I say I'll be thinking about it during the day, and I said let me try something different. And I'm able to it's something I'm able to do quickly every day and kind of challenge myself. And yeah, it's been fun. Genshin is still fun, man. Like I know there's a lot of negativity about the state of the game, but it's just the most consistent game that I'm able to just hop in quickly and get stuff done and hop out. And still,
honestly, I'd never take anything I read online or in terms of games like that, which are constantly being updated, because I have never ever seen a game like that where people are content and they're happy. And like, ever. I just feel like something about that model of game just drives people to, to act like that online. But if you want to, like, one thing about Genshin that's crazy to me is just that the revenue is still bringing in. Like, the revenue is still going up. That does not happen. How is this game on its third year? Normally, this is when games are starting to drop off and they're starting to become desperate and start to offer, like, crazy packages to get people in. But no, not this game is still just beating itself in revenue. This banner this left is beating the Nahida banner, which previously beat the last banner that was the highest top in gross revenue. Most games never beat the initial banner from the initial hype when the game first.
Yeah, and I'm reaching my 12th month free to play, so I've kind of hit that where I'm not spending money, but again, I can't encourage people. But it's
weird what's going on here.
it does speak to the appeal of the game, definitely. And so I would like to be like Venom and play one game, but I did accomplish some backlog stuff. Like I beat Chorus, I beat I think I beat, what did I beat before then? Anno Muchination, which was a great game, by the way. Great game. I did finish some of those games. But I am playing, 2K. I know this is a sports game. I know how people feel about sports games, but it has to be, somebody has to say what's going on with this game. I was about to quit the game. Like I told Venom, I'm gonna make this Larry Bird build and go offline and just play the game, offline. I made the build, put the money into it, and as soon as I put the money into it, I got a phone call from my 2K friends. And I was like, what, bro? What do y'all want? And they were like, we're putting the band back together. You need to come on. The 40 reward is worth it. So this is season pass, of course, and the level 40 reward has been bad. Like 1 year they gave us a parrot, like literally a parrot. It's been really bad. And this time they gave us like something. I'm not even going to try to describe it. It's basically like they gave us something that we could basically get, like, if you had, like, I'm basically able to get like 2 more extra Hall of Fame badges, which is really powerful. So I was like, it was like, you got to get it. And I was in this like push and pull scenario where it's like, I don't really want to do this, but I kind of have to do it, because if I don't do it, then it's going to hinder my ability to come back to the game. So again, the FOMO, all of that stuff is playing a part. So while at the same time I'm playing Witcher and I'm playing Genshin, I'll get back to my 2K grind and I bring out my Larry Bird build. And I like to think, I always maintain a 70% win percentage, whether I'm playing with my friends or by myself. So I'm a decent 2K player.
Oh Lord.
But like it's like the most competitive game. Like Venom has seen me play, I'm pretty good at the game, right? No matter how much gripes I have. So I have this Larry Bird build, which is a disadvantaged build, okay? It doesn't have any of the min-max.
I have a really stupid question. I'm sorry for Stone, but how can you play Larry Bird in a 2020 game? Can you play whoever you want? Like, can I just play like prime Michael Jordan in these games? How does this work?
They usually you create your own player, and then my career part of the game, which is the part that I play.
But you can make Larry Bird if you want to.
But this year they added replica builds, so you can create what 2K would consider that player in my career, and he'll have the same name, and he'll have like every 2K player has like a nickname. They'll give you like, if you make a Jordan, they'll give you like his airness, or you can have the GOAT, or you can have like Larry Bird's name is the Hick from French Lick, which is why I made it, because it's just hilarious to me. And I thought I was gonna go to the rec from time to time and like troll and play like Larry Bird and get into the mic and put on this country accent and stuff. Like it's just different, like different ways to have fun with the game.
I feel it.
And but when my friends call me, they're trying to get serious and they're trying to play seriously. So I'm seriously trying to play with this build. And the problem is it's not a min-max build, so I'm at disadvantage, and defensively especially. So I was a liability, and I mean, I did have a game where I scored 68 points in a competitive game, but that was like few and far between. Like that was like my best. That was like me being prime Larry Bird, like above and beyond. Like that was like everything went right. I hit all my shots. That was like, a special game. But other than that, I would usually average like 10-15 points. My guy that I was guarding would be 20 and 30 points, because I couldn't really, I have like a 40 block and like a low perimeter and like not really any way to really stop anybody, because most of these replica builds are offensive players and they don't have any defense. Even the ones that's supposed to have, like Kawhi doesn't really have good defense if you make the claw. So it's just one of those things where it's like, if you make Mutombo, or if you make like Shaq, or if you make like Hakeem Olajuwon, you'll have a little bit of defense. But like other than that, like you won't have any defense. So I was disadvantaged, and I was like, all right, if I'm going to hit 40, I need a build that's going to help us win more. And so I made the meta build. I told the guys, just go on my account, make the meta build, I'll put the money into it. So before the meta build, this is what I want to point out. This is what we spoke to Venom when we talked about it. I made the meta build. My shooting, my 3-point percentage, and I was complaining about shooting. My 3-point percentage was 40%. My 3-point percentage now with the meta build and the meta jump shot is 60%. I did not get any better at the game.
Yeah.
This is the problem. And I just want, if Mike Wang ever listens to this is the problem. I did not get better at the game. I created the meta player. Yeah. Now we win more often. We were already beaten. And now my percentage.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here. Wouldn't you consider learning about the game to be, consider getting better at the game? Because you had to right?
It comes down to like
no, you don't. Other people can do that and then just put it out on the internet, and then everyone can just jump on the easy way to play.
I forgot about the internet.
It's
like
just cheese by a different situation.
My ability to like with the jump shots, they say that there's no difference between the jump shots, right? But if I'm shooting, but if I'm like the same person, my same ability to time stuff, and you give me this meta jump shot and my percentage jumps 20 points, then there are better jump shots. And that's learning about the game, but it shouldn't. But the problem isn't that it exists, is that 2K denies it. Like they repeatedly say there's no difference, or they'll say like, oh, everyone, that jump shot is just easier to time. Like, but what make 2K great is variety, right? And when you look at the competitive landscape and everybody has the same build, the same jump shot, like everybody's using Oscar Robertson right now because it's the meta jump shot. You want to shoot 60% or you want to shoot 40%? It's just, that's the question. And
that's actually a good conversation, because that happens in a lot of games.
Yes.
How do you balance the game to where people can use everything in a kind of
yeah, and there are
world where everybody's supposed to use the best thing.
There are min-max things, right? There are min-max things, and that's part of the game. But it's just in 2K, it's so egregious how much better you can get. Like you can take a guy, like Greg, you can start playing 2K tomorrow, and if I give you a meta build,
that'll be good. True.
You'll be like at least 40% better than what you were. Without even changing like the actual things that mean skill, like timing and stick control and those things. So I don't know. It's just a problem, especially with the price of players going up, where this year it costs like $250 to max a player if you don't grind. Fortunately for me, I had VC saved up, so it didn't cost for those extra players as much. But my first player was like expensive as hell. And that's just pay to win. I mean, just blatantly. I mean, it's been bad before, but it's gone up.
Kind of far.
And when they were asked about it, Ronnie 2K said basically that the game has more value, so they charge higher price. So basically, they justify it. And
I mean, if people are willing to pay it.
Yeah, but on top of that, there's the code of the game. You say the game has gotten better, but let's talk about the code. In a sense where in the beginning of the game, you can only make shots if you're green, which is if you time it on a perfect release. Now, people are perfect releasing and it's missing. So
yeah, it's not guaranteed.
The visual feedback is off, whereas before you would like if I white, then it's off. And I think that they have to. But the thing is, again, 2K is denying that this is the case. But it's like, if you have to decide what you want to be. Is it going to be RNG or if it's not? Like, if you tell people if you green this year, you're going to make the shot, but then like halfway through the year, I'm getting a visual green and it's not going in. It's frustrating. Like, so if the expectation is set from the beginning of the year that it's going to be RNG this year, guys, then people will adjust their game to that. But the messaging is off, and then 2K repeatedly denies. So I don't want to make this all about 2K, but I started playing 2K. I reached level 40, and then we played a game last night, and everybody was just like, when are we going to stop playing this game? Because the new level 40 reward is fast travel. And it's just like, we want gameplay improvements, animations, art, statistical improvements. This is what we want. The other stuff is cool, but not as like the highest tier of reward. Not to mention, if you want to hit legend this year, you have to score 100,000 points, which is ridiculous. If you do the math, it's ridiculous. Like, you literally would have to live and breathe on the game, or drop like 50 points a game to reach that. So, that's why when people said, oh, it didn't mean anything that you became a legend last year because it was easy for everyone. No, you don't realize how much you're playing into the corporate hands when you say that, because if they're gonna make it easy, I was a legend in 2K. Fine, it does count, because they can't make it unreasonable and then everybody say, well, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's unreasonable. Like, make it reasonable, and like a reasonable challenge. And people say, well, it's not that hard. I mean, it's too hard to make it reasonable. It's not. Like, why does it have to be 100,000 points? Like, there's a large gap between 100,000 points, and they know the math on how would it take to get to that. Like, what does it mean to be a legend? Like, 100,000 points is just ridiculous for a video game in which we play 8-minute quarters. I mean, sorry, 7-minute quarters. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, make it realistic. Like, to a person that's averaging 20 points a game. Like, 20 points a game is really good. I think you should be a legend if you average 20 points a game. Like, that's pretty good. But to say someone has to average 30, 40 points a game consistently to hit legend is crazy. Anyway, so I was playing 2K. But I also started playing One Piece recently, which I'm going to talk about later in this podcast. And I started also playing, what did I start playing? Am I forgetting? Chain Echoes, which is really good, based on Chrono Trigger. Love that. Nice. Chrono Trigger. But my focus is my backlog, as I told Venom, and so I've been spending majority of my time with Witcher 3. And I think even as One Piece comes out, and I'm playing One Piece, and as Forspoken comes out, my priority is going to be to beat Witcher 3 and to clear my backlog until, One Piece, we'll talk about that, but, that's another thing. All right, guys, let's move on to our topic of the day. And the topic of today is devs are lazy because a gameplay aspect didn't meet my expectations or standard. I'm going to start this off. This has been a running theme that I've been seeing ever since ACG did his Midnight Suns review. And I know he has high standards, or he has a standard for audio, and he mentioned several times, and he is very hesitant to say this, but he was mentioning that, like, at times it seemed like the devs weren't, like, trying. And I see this a lot where in reviews and essays on games and Twitter posts, where you get to a point of the game where you expect something to be a certain level, and you ask yourself, and the first thing you say is, are the devs lazy? Did they try? And when you sit and think about it, I think there's a lot of different things that come into play on why a certain thing is the way it is. So let me be more specific. Like, I'm gonna use Witcher 3 as an example. I've been critical of the game since the upgrade came out because it made me question, like, my first playthrough. Because some of the changes seem kind of like simple. Like, I know that sounds, from a very, from my perspective as a gamer, it can be kind of insulting to say it's simple, but, like,
it was a modernization of the game. So they were essentially bringing a lot of things that we've seen in other open world games since The Witcher came out to the game now in 2020. Well, we're in 2023. It came out in 2022.
Yeah. And Venom was kind of my sounding board. I know he would push back. That's why I like saying a lot of ridiculous things. He always pushes back and kind of says the thing that needs to be said. But, like, it's the 360 movement, like sprinting with the R3, my first thought when I'm playing the game was, did they even try to like solve these things when it first came out? Forgetting that some of these things weren't really present when Witcher came out, or maybe I'm not sure if it was actually, if it did have R3 to sprint, or maybe some of the decisions that they made, if it was a design impediment, like maybe they had some kind of barrier with their system to actually do that at the time, and now they don't have that barrier. So I just kind of want to talk about that, and people who listen to this and gamers, when we're getting frustrated that something isn't to our standard, to our expectation, to not be the first thing we jump to is that the devs are lazy. I don't know, because on when I think about it, it is kind of like a ridiculous thing to assume that people aren't working there or giving their best effort, on a certain project. So I kind of want to get you guys' opinion on that. And
I feel like it's hard.
Seen.
It's hard to know exactly, what the issue is. I think all people know is that something's not right.
Yes.
And the base thing is like, oh well, it's not hard. Like it's professional. You're lazy. It's the only excuse. People don't really understand it. Like for example, I see in the Genshin community all the time. People, they're calling the devs lazy because of the lack of different body types.
Oh yeah, and I'll hate them too. When he's a carbon copy of Kaching, I was definitely guilty of that.
Well, not necessarily that, but more so in terms of how few body types there are. Like basically every character in the game to, one of 5 body types. You're a tall guy, medium guy, medium girl, or short girl, and that's it. There's no variations of that body type. People are like, how come they don't just give us more? They're lazy. They're $1 billion. How come they don't give us a muscle guy or a fat guy? Yeah. And it's like, well, they can't, because this game has to run your iPhone. So there's limitations that are put in place, not because laziness, but because this game is running on your iPhone.
Right.
Yeah.
But people, people don't think about that. They're just, the first thing is just, oh, it's lazy. Because obviously, look how much billions of dollars you made on riding shoulders. You could make a fat guy if you wanted to. You just.
That's a great example of this topic for sure. That is one that I've heard a lot of Genshin specifically.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to a lot of. No, I mean, even that's a great example because it's a simple and easy to understand example, right? You could make a bigger character, but then how are they going to fit on a small screen?
Yeah.
That not necessarily someone can instantly.
It's more so the fact that because the memory limitations, if you add another model in, there's a whole another set of right now everybody's sharing the same animation. There's just one animation set, and all the girls use it. If you add another type of character, they need different animations, and then you have to load in 500 extra animations, and the iPhone is getting hot.
Yeah.
Right, I got you. Right. And stuff like that people don't think about, right? It's a technical thing.
Right.
I think do you know what? I actually think branding anyone lazy in almost anything they do is like a cop out.
Yeah.
Like it's just the easiest thing to brand someone and condemn them, when actually the real reason or what's really going on is something more complicated that you just aren't willing to delve into. And in this area in particular, there's a very small percentage of people that understand how to make games.
Yeah.
Right? And until you try to make a game, you're not going to understand all of the intricate little things that go into making a game. It is like preposterous that these games are even ever finished. Right. And I think that's another side of things that we're seeing more and more lately, with so many games being delayed into 2023 from 2022. The limitations that were put on these devs during the pandemic and not being able to be in the same place while they create. And then I think one of the biggest ones that I've noticed is the move to HD development. It's it's no surprise that now with Nintendo having a console that can reach 1080p and higher, their game dev cycles have like it's added like 6 months to a year to all of them. Every single game that comes out
Man, when the
has
Switch came
so
out,
much more time.
Nintendo actually switched the entire structure of the company. Basically, where before they had two different departments, one for handheld, console. And it's always been like that.
Yeah.
And then Switch was like, oh, no more of that. This is the future. One big pipeline for everything.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that's just how crazy it is.
And they're still short-handed in a lot of ways, right? And you see that when a smaller team, which isn't actually part of Nintendo, but we associate with Nintendo, the Pokemon game company, when they bring out their most recent games, you can see how much they struggled to get the technical things right. Right? They were fine with all of the game mechanics, etc. They're used to doing that, but technically getting this open world game to run at any kind of fidelity, at any kind of frame rate, they've really struggled. And another good example that I've seen recently is Team Ninja put out Stranger of Paradise last year, and they're bringing out Wo Long this year. But someone delved into the code of Stranger of Paradise. Stranger of Paradise is a game that looks like a last-gen game at best, and it doesn't run great either. You would think that it being making the graphics worse would make it run better, but you can tell they really struggle technically, which doesn't make any sense because the dev studio's previous game, Neo, ran perfectly, right? It's buttery smooth, 60 frames per second, and it's graphically light years ahead of Stranger of Paradise, which came out after. Someone delved into the code and found that there's no way that experienced coders made that game. When they looked at how many Stranger of Paradise, so the one that came out after, there's no way that Inexperienced games coders made that game because of there was so much like just excess and bloating in their coding. And this is where you need to come to realize that within development companies you can have different teams and you can have multiple teams. So I'm pretty sure the team that made Neo 2 was not the same team that made Stranger of Paradise. It wasn't the same developers, right? They were probably working on Wo Long Fallen Dynasty already and had moved over to that project. And then the budget as well. The budget that Square Enix gave them to make a Final Fantasy game may not have been the same budget that they spent on making their own games. And that's where all of these different things go into what product eventually comes out. So it's one thing to say like, From Software made Elden Ring. Now they're making Armored Core. Armored Core is going to be as good as Elden Ring. Well, actually, no, hold on. How much are they investing in it? Who's working on it? Is it the old Armored Core team? Are those developers even still at the company? Is it Elden Ring devs that have moved over to this project? Maybe they were working on Elden Ring and working on DLC for Elden Ring, which might come out this year, and they never move over. Or at a certain point they do move over, but by then all of the mechanics are done already, all of the main things have been done already, and they're just there to sort of get it over the line, make sure it gets through testing and gets out. Right. It's not as simple as just, I want this to be in the game, put it in the game, or you're lazy. Right? There's a ton of things that go into it. And that's where I gave, we spoke about this a few weeks ago, I sent you that Reddit post about someone being asked to put first the game dev is asked to put like a monster that spews lava everywhere all over the screen, and they say fine, that's no problem, and then the next request is for them to put a scarf on a character, and they're like, oh, that's gonna that's tough. That's tough. I don't know if we can do it. Right. But it's because a lot of the stuff to do with like particles spewing all over the screen and stuff like that might already be coded into the engine. Whereas putting a scarf on a character, now all of a sudden you have to think about the wind physics and the movement physics and the way that a scarf moves, and all of these little intricate things that are actually more difficult to code than lava flying out of a hole in the ground.
And the worst part, of course, is if you do put this, it's not good. Look how bad this scarf looks. How much money does the company make? You have $1 billion and you can't make a better scarf than this?
Exactly. And they're like, yeah. And it happens, right? It happens where one part looks great and another part doesn't.
My favorite example of this is I want to say it was Smash 4. So you know how Smash players are. When the Smash game comes out, everybody's like characters. People are really invested into what characters are going to be in this game. People are going to mine. They're doing whatever they can. So finally, after all the leaks, after everything, somebody finally data mines the last 4 hidden characters. And the last 4 hidden characters was like Lucina, like Dark Pit, basically a bunch of clones. And people had a fit. They're like, lazy. The laziness of people were mad about the clones. It got so bad to the point where Sakurai, the creator, had to come out and he had to make a statement. He was like, hey, those clones they're not because we're lazy. They weren't supposed to be in the game in the first place. We stayed extra and worked an hour late extra every day to put those characters in because people wanted them.
Right.
And they're clones because they make sense. Like Pit and Dark Pit are the same person. We'd be stupid to not put in Dark Pit when Pit is already in the game. And people want Dark Pit in the game. We did it right. We gave him his actual. We made the subtle differences and the subtle changes, so it's not exactly Pit, but it's like if Dark Pit was actually in the game, it's like I don't think his statement put things into perspective for people because even now people are like, oh, cool. Even they got so bad that the next game he put his own spin on it. He started calling them Echo Fighters.
Yeah,
like Chrome is an Echo Fighter. Yeah. Put in his own thing so people would stop sending death threats.
Which is wild, right?
Because the mascot character game, serious business.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, awesome. It just comes down to just ignorance. Happens in every
Yeah, it started with me just wanting to check myself, and then I started noticing it, and then I was just like, you know what, it's a good topic, to kind of every once in a while, because we're so disconnected from the games that how they're made and all that. It's good to kind of refresh ourselves and take a step back and say, you know what, and it really did help me going into One Piece Odyssey, because there's certain things about, like, obviously most games are actually linear, right? Like even open world games, there's a linearity to it. But I struggle with linearity. I do. Like at times, if certain aspects of a game push me in one direction, like I call it the invisible wall moment. Like the moment, the more invisible walls I jump into, the more frustrated I get. And obviously, every game has invisible walls, right? But it's like, some of these games, like I start to pay attention to it more, and I have to take a step back and say, okay, this is not actually a problem. It's just the way my mind works. Like in One Piece, I'll talk about it, but actually, let's I'm gonna save that. Let's get to some reactions. There's one thing I wanted you guys to look at. Can you guys still see my screen?
I can.
Okay, let me. If I move it over here, can you see it?
No, I cannot.
Oh, okay. I'm sharing the wrong screen. Awesome. Let me change windows here to this one. All right. So you guys should be able to see this now.
Stream pause.
Can you see it now?
It says you paused it. Nope. I see you now.
As you minimize your application.
Oh. Okay, I know what
wait, hold on.
I know what I did.
Yeah. That's what it is.
I know what I did. Okay, share screen. Screens. screen to go live. Okay, now you should be able to see it.
Yes.
All right. You probably won't be able to hear the sound. Let me know if you can hear the sound. Hold on.
No. If there is sound.
Yeah, let me pause this though. It's cool. We can just go off the visuals. The music's not that important to this. But this is a new trailer. And you know, I think it's important for Genshin just because just the quality of this trailer. And I just kind of want to get you guys' reaction to what this is.
Evil takes on many forms, but always carries a karmic curse. It
Well,
spawns
this is
monsters that
the Zhao trailer.
Yeah.
lurk in the mountains where the Adepti dwell, preying on the living for decades.
But
It manifests as devastating pestilences, scarring the world for centuries. It is the sworn duty of the Yaksha to purge all evil. But after millennia of bloodshed, karma takes a toll. A moment of complacency, and I too will succumb to the darkness. An instant of negligence, and it will turn me into one of the monsters I swore to
they're
purge.
trying their damn hardest to make an edgy character.
You said what?
Like every time I see Zhao, I'm just like, yo, they're trying their hardest to make like a really edgy, edgelord character that actually makes sense and isn't cringe at all. And like, oh man, if I was like that, I'd be like that too. Like not like Sasuke Uchiha,
Right.
where it's like, man, grow a pair.
Yeah. Zhao is just I do find him a little insufferable. Like he's just so down and depressed the whole time. I know Venom, you haven't seen this character, but he's every character you've ever seen like this ever before. Like, he's like, but the sadness inside of me is.
He's just different because I feel like normally when I see those characters, I almost feel like the author is taking the piss out on the character. But Zhao feels so earnest, like they. Y'all.
After
He's
millennia of
the new
suffering
Batman.
and endless
Reeves is Batman.
Yeah.
slaughter, I now see things for what they really are.
So I'm gonna pause it here. So the thing about it is, and this I just want to highlight how crazy my mind is. Anytime I see anything that I consider to be an upgrade from what I'm currently doing, I currently want the new thing to replace the old thing. Isn't that crazy? Like when I saw Zhao fighting, I'm thinking to myself, that's how I want the game to look.
Like in the cutscene?
Yes. I want to play that.
They probably look cool, but I don't know, man. The camera, the way the camera is in the video game, it's like that for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how this one thing would be like for camera angles, switch and shift like that. If I'm trying to fight,
Yes.
as cool as it would look, but I can't imagine actually playing it.
Exactly. But
And if you do, it kind of becomes like, well, you got a QTE thing. You're not really playing it. It's just you're hitting triangle at just the right time when the button tells you to, and then he does the.
right. But my mind is always trying to square that circle. Like, how can we get closer to that? Because it just, even as good as Genshin looks and as good as it plays, I'm always like looking at the cutscenes. Like, I want to get close to the cutscene. I want to get close to the cutscene.
The only way that's gonna work is we're gonna have to get to that super scary like next level like toxic core AI where the people inject they inject the games into themselves. That's I feel like that's what
VR level. Yeah, for sure.
Not VR, but next level. Like the crazy
you can only
VR.
really
Nano machines inside your blood making you think this is happening.
You say that, but I'm pretty sure 99.9% of gamers don't have the ability to do that in VR. So unless they're going out to train on this,
that's what I'm saying.
Their skills.
Next level. currently, you have to move your body right, like to do VR. That's the I'm talking about. I'm talking about the new version of VR.
Oh, you move
300 years where it's all in your head. Like there's no control.
Yeah.
Your consciousness is in your head. You have all those abilities.
They ain't got that in their heads either, trust me.
Right. Let's continue.
Honestly, bro,
Well,
I think that'll be so interesting because I always
yeah.
think about like when I used to be like a kid and I used to play like Call of Duty, like
Oh,
anybody play like online, like on the Xbox Live when it like first came out. Like it
Yeah.
was so wild, right? Because I had to stop going on and talking because as soon as I started talking, it's like somebody, at least two guys, they start yelling out racial slurs, like, and the enthusiasm that they had was like it was like they've been waiting their whole life for this moment, right?
Yeah.
What if a person like that puts on a VR headset or one of these new ways presents? What would happen? Like, do you think that they probably wouldn't even be able to focus on the game?
Yeah, I think that's the issue because it would have to be some kind of like commands from your brain that speak to the AI to then give commands to the thing. The problem is our brains are like, are we really just focused on one topic at a time? Like,
no.
imagine someone's playing a game and then they start thinking dirty. The next thing you know, their character's like pulling their pants down and stuff like that. Like,
Exactly.
like
Like, I'm just like imagining somebody like playing like new age Call of Duty, and then I jump in the lobby, and then instantly the game just becomes like rappers start showing up in the stuff.
right. Like,
Oh wait. It's gonna take millennia to get to that point. I mean, we're not.
I know.
We can't program stuff. I don't think all of a sudden it's gonna create random generation from our thoughts. So one day maybe we'll see.
We'll see. We're way ahead of the game. We're ahead of our time. All right, let's continue.
Too far again.
But let's
They
figure out this
podcast
stuff
up in like 1,000 years. Those last were hit something. They almost got it right. Right.
They are
You
making an
slept
anime
the whole
too.
day through,
I
you
wonder
know.
if this is like the
Good
same
thing
footage
you're
they're
awake.
gonna use.
You're just in time for the
Yeah,
landing.
anime's gonna be so fire.
I think so too. Yeah.
I carried you
Smart
here on
move.
my back.
Okay, pause. She just said she carried them
I'm
here
so
on her
worried.
back. Like, this
Of course.
is this is where like me and anime kind of like just kind of like start to part. These first of all, these little characters. And
Give it to Chi Chi. Chi Chi is not fighting. She's an undead zombie girl.
true.
And Zhao is a bird man. He probably weighs like 5 pounds.
Okay, I'll let it slide this time. But when she said that, I was like, bullshit.
No, it's funny because I thought the same thing when I said I went. And I was like, hold on, Chi Chi. And I was like, hold on now. My Chi Chi can defeat entire camps of infantry by herself.
Yeah.
So
True. This is true.
maybe she could pick. Well, she's pretty strong.
True. This is true.
I'll get you some medicine now.
Shoot, if Zhao took that tag off her head, he might kick his ass.
Facts. They didn't see him leave? Like, how fast is Zhao, bro? Like, how fast is
Zhao teleports in the pile of darkness. He doesn't walk out. Like, from what I understand, Zhao is omnipotent. The traveler yells out, Zhao, and Zhao.
Right.
Yes.
Did I scare you? Don't worry, this mask is to scare away monsters. It really
Damn, bro.
works.
Did they do this last year?
To be afraid.
When Zhao was going through his darkness and he had to clear him?
Yeah.
Just like a Unity thing? You could clean Zhao, and then you could buy him in the shop.
Yeah, Venom, this is typical Zhao. Like, it's nothing different that we've seen before. He's always like, the darkness.
Darkness.
Are you okay?
You look tired. Exactly.
Grandpa,
Like this plot line of him is tired.
give him some rice wine pudding.
I thought after the last time he did it would be the last time. Happy afterwards.
Yeah, and
After what was it? The casting event?
yeah, because he literally had to be saved. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, but I tried to sacrifice myself and you wouldn't let me. Now I'll never do it again.
And then his abilities is literally him sacrificing health. So it's like, Bruh. Stop trying to kill yourself, bruh.
Well, hello there. Care to join me for a drink on this fine evening?
Damn it. I know I'm saying Japan when I say this.
Oh, you started
China too.
celebrating.
You can't just draw a girl and have a girl voice and say it's a boy.
You know, that is true. Yeah, it's this character in particular has been one of the most
It's like
misgendered
Renty is a
characters.
girl in every way except when they say it's not.
Yeah, I think they should have highlighted the fact that he like the real character is a wind spirit. So that would have, I mean, they could have took, if they weren't China, from China, they could have took like a more modern stance, more outwardly on that, because we are in the age where people are trying to, you know, take these stances. It would have been probably a plus if he was just like a non-gendered person. But anyway.
Already.
I think
Any
that
rice
this is
wine for me?
trying to sneak this all the other nations. Because notice how Leeway is perfect and nothing, and everybody there is so business minded and hardworking and strong. But all the other places, everybody in mindset's drunk, including the Archon.
True.
Like everybody in this room is just like stuck in this like weird military thing.
Right.
So much addicted to computers, and they don't care about the desert people. But Leeway is perfect.
True.
Look how perfect Leeway is. The only 5-star dish is from Leeway. That's how you know.
Right.
Like nobody else can
Just
cook
want
except for
to
China.
rest.
Right.
Let it be known.
Very nice. It's good to take the mask off once in a while, even just for one night.
Damn, why Vinty so bad though?
So anyway, that was just a quick video I wanted to kind of go over. It's, you know, what makes it significant is Genshin has released videos for characters and things since they started the game, but ever since they announced that they're going to be releasing their anime, and they started releasing these trailers like this, they've been getting better and better. So it's just nice to see the animation grow, and like this was only like 3 minutes, but it must have took a lot of work and effort. So it's just nice to see them, you know, put these little short clips out, and hopefully we get more of this, because I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And I think having these animations and having the anime potentially come out can only enhance the experience of the game. And it's something because, you know, we're going to go into the One Piece review soon, but it's something I'll touch on there. It's kind of important for that. But is there anything else you guys want to kind of share or react to before we move on?
I don't think I have anything recent.
Okay. It's fine. I just kind of wanted to start off our reaction thing. You know, throughout the week, you guys can send me stuff and we can kind of react to it here. And you, the listener, if you have anything you want us to react to or look at, just send it to us. You can send it to comment in the comment section, or you can send it to my email at medisagegaming@gmail.com, and we'll take a look at it and react to it live and on the podcast, and we'll go over those things. Moving forward, it's time to get to the main topic at hand. One of them, One Piece. I've played quite a bit of the game. I've got about, I don't know, 4 hours in, so it's just my impression of the game so far. I did see a couple reviews. Venom, I know you saw one review. Greg, I'm not sure if you've seen any reviews on it.
No, I'm trying to avoid the reviews. I'm trying to
One Piece, I have like a very, very checkered relationship with. I recognize its greatness, but I have problems with it. And Venom, I'm not sure if you have any franchises that you pay attention to, but you have problems with simultaneously, to the level that I have with One Piece.
I don't know. It's different because it's a show and a game, right? It's an anime and a game.
Yeah, it's primarily an anime, a manga and anime, but the games haven't fared too well, because they were pretty much cash grabs, most of them. And they've all tried to be action-based games, but they've been kind of like really lower standard, you know, action games.
There was one One Piece game I thought was really good on the Wii.
Okay.
It was more like I feel like based on exploration and like I think it was called like Grand Adventure or something. It was pretty good.
Okay.
I would give it like a 7 out of 10, but because of me, it was a 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5 out of 10. One of the best games ever.
Awesome. And so I'm just gonna, before I get into my impression, I'm just gonna give a little history with One Piece. I started One Piece a long time ago. It may have been like 10, 15 years by now, and I picked it because at the time I was trying to watch animes that were long, and now I've since changed to shorter animes. So like I would never watch another like Naruto or One Piece or anything like that. But at the time, I wanted this grand adventure, and One Piece had a great opening. And it had an interesting art style. Interesting being, I thought all the characters were ugly, but it was just this interesting, like it was on purpose. Like I felt like it was like I had to figure out like what was more to this world. Like I was like, why are the noses like that? Like why are they drawn that way? Why are their foreheads drawn that way? But it seemed to be more of like an artistic choice than like a bad drawing. You know what I mean? So I was interested because of the way it was drawn and the way it was in the whimsical nature of it. It just seemed like the person had something clever to show because of it. Like if it's like if you show this kind of hand, there got to be something behind this. Like you're doing it on purpose to make a statement. So I had to figure out what that statement was. And I got pretty much that. Like One Piece has really good story beats, but my time with it, to me, it's one of the largest tonal shifts I've ever experienced. It goes from dark.
Well, what do you mean by that?
It goes from dark to like some of the humor is so childlike to the point of like cringe in my soul. Like Sanji, like, and I've gone over this, and a lot of One Piece fans, like, they love these characters because of these things. But like each of the characters has like these huge like things about them, right? That's so over the top. Like Sanji is so into women, like he's like a super simp, right? And then like I don't remember all of the little details, but like Usopp is like, you know, he needs courage, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but it's been a while. But like they have like
No, it's funny because it's funny that you don't like that about them because that's actually one of the things I like about One Piece. It's that what keeps the show grounded. Because like some shows, I feel like Bleach gets here. I just feel like it takes itself too seriously.
Yeah,
and it's like you know, the stakes are high, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a cartoon.
Yeah,
and it's like you have a cartoon where everything's black, everybody's always frowning, and everything's edgy, and it's just like I don't know. To me, like One Piece doesn't skimp on the heavy plot lines. In fact, the plot lines are really heavy. They get into stuff like slavery and oppression and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just wild. But at the end of the day, it's like you don't get depressed about it because sometimes you saw a nice rack over here, or you know, Onami's greedy, and it's like if you're too focused on it, then it's like because I agree. I hate Sanji too. Like there was a point where it was cool. But to me, like around like 800 episodes, I got sick of it.
Yeah. I think it's the continuation in the like the jokes. Like I don't remember ever laughing at a One Piece joke, like ever. I don't know if it's meant to be funny or make me smile, but it's just like the humor is.
It's weird with One Piece. You don't laugh at the joke themselves. It's more of the situation the joke creates. If it makes any sense. Like for example, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, all right, they're at a table somewhere, and they're all doing their shenanigans. The shenanigans themselves are not funny. But what's funny is that when you back up from the table and people are these the straw hats that are worth all this money?
Yeah.
Why are they so goofy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's more of the situation than the actual itself.
Yeah.
They're funny because they're just them.
Yeah, and I get all that, and it's like I struggle with it. I watched like something like 700 episodes dealing with it. Like, not in. I mean, I enjoy the show. I enjoy the core of what One Piece is, but I just struggle with it. Like at times, I want to turn it off. Like when I see like the first time I saw like the big giant children, I turned it off. Like they look so stupid to me that it just rips me completely out of whatever immersion I had in this world. Because it's like I'm watching these children,
Honestly,
these giant children walk, and it just looks so ridiculous. I can't wrap my
it's
mind around
funny
it.
because I know what you're talking about, and I actually got over that early. And it's funny because at this point now I've gotten over it and I laugh. But it's because that happened to me when I first met Usopp. Actually, it was like early on.
Oh yeah,
And I was like, "Why does this suit look so stupid?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Who designed this man to have a nose? Like, why would they do that? Why? Yeah, I just couldn't go for it.
Yeah.
And then like towards the end of the arc, he like stepped up. I was like, "Oh no, do I like this character despite what he looks like?"
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, and I had that moment with
And then
Usopp
it's
too,
like,
especially when him and Luffy were fighting.
and then it's
Yeah.
And then it's like from then, it just like instead of like I just laugh. Like I just feel like how far can he take it? How that's just I don't know. It's part of the humor.
Yeah.
It like it helps when you have a whole story about a girl who literally ate her parents when she looks like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know you're talking about like probably Big Mom or whatnot.
Yes.
So
that.
She's doing all types of wild stuff. Having it look really goofy it helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're like, what's that anime? It's called like Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
I had to turn it off first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Awful.
So me and One Piece have a checkered relationship, but I've always willing to play the games. I now own all of the games, and I'm going to play them at some point.
Oh, bad decision.
But because I want a slice of One Piece, I just don't want to invest in One Piece. I tried it. Like
honestly though, here's what you should do. You should read the manga. Like the manga is. And I know you probably don't like manga.
No, I
don't like manga.
It's not
either.
that I don't like manga. I just or manga. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I always say I'm going to do that, and it's on my bucket list of things to eventually do.
I actually stopped watching One Piece a long time ago. I started watching the manga not because of the childish or anything, but because of like it was so slow paced.
Oh yeah,
it's cool. It's cool if you have like 1,000 episodes to binge watch. You don't really think about it too much. But I caught the One Piece like a long time ago, and having to wait a week for an episode where only 8 minutes of new stuff happens, that cost me especially the manga. And a lot of the stuff, it's just less than the manga. Like a cringe joke in the anime might be like 3 minutes, but in the manga it's just like a panel, and it's not even that cringe.
Right.
It's just
right. Yeah. And I found that in the game too. Like when you can press the skip button,
Yeah.
But when this game was advertised, I thought to myself, this might be the definitive One Piece experience for me that I can just jump into, get a nice slice of One Piece, and get out. Because there are things I really like about One Piece, like some of their government characters, the way they're designed. Some of the character designs are really dope.
You like the government characters?
Yeah, with the white coats. Yes, I love.
How could you?
Because they're just so cool to me. I just like their demeanor. I like the mysteriousness about the world government in this, and it just, to me, everything that Luffy is facing and the juxtaposition of it has always been interesting because they're so stupid. Like, I know that people love those, but his crew is literally they got problems, and to see what they're up against, it's like such a contrast. And I love that. So
that's the funny. That's what I love about the Straw Hats, though, is that they all have issues, but they're all perfectly dysfunctional.
Yes.
So, say what you want about Sanji and Moonlight, that dude can cook. It's they're all like that. They're they're all ridiculous, but they're all top of their field, whatever they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have this this weird mix of just what are y'all doing? Oh no, you doing?
Yeah. One Piece put me through some trying times. I remember that you're right with the anime. There's one part where Zoro was lost for 4 episodes straight, and I almost lost my mind, bro. Everybody's probably having a good time with this episode, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god!" Okay, I get it. He can't tell directions. God, Lee, can we move on, please? Please move on. Oh my god, he's still lost. Oh wow, I didn't realize it. It's
So I don't know if
like,
you've seen the
God.
memes, but people did these like memes where like Zoro gets so lost he ends up in other animes.
Yeah,
Like they do
yeah,
like a
yeah. I
Naruto
see some
meme.
of those. I
And
see
on the
some of
last
those.
panel they have Zoro popping up like
Oh my God! But they just got they just stab that lines like over and over again. But
I'm sorry. I'm
it's
sorry. Like
cool.
out of all the jokes, out of all the running jokes, the Zoro getting lost one to me never gets old because they always somehow manage the topic. Like at first I was
uh,
like, okay, yeah, he got lost. It was it was a long way and shit. But at a certain point, it's like, yo, it was a straight line. How did you get lost?
yeah,
Or somebody tells them exactly what direction to go, and they'll immediately start walking in the wrong direction.
and I do think One Piece can be therapeutic in that way because they deal with these heavy topics and then they just give you these jokes. And I think certain people, it's good. Like it's a good. You're right. It's like it's new. It's different. It's a breath of fresh air to what other animes do. And I think it can be therapeutic. For me, it just doesn't hit all the time, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
But I would say this: I can take it in a video game, and that's what I wanted when I saw
true.
the when I saw
That's a great
the
point.
when I saw the sorry my mind I just saw the this game come out. I said, okay, turn based. They're going away to go away from action for this title was interesting to me. Like, why would you think you could market this game this way? And what what they were trying to do with the different areas, I thought about like how immersive that would be because you have in the show they're often split up, and I was like, oh man, they can make interesting battles with this. Like some of those, because I know we were going to go
Hmm.
back to some of these iconic battles. They can recreate some of that. Um, and I thought that would be cool. Like I really do want to recreate some of those moments and that I've seen. And so I was like, yeah, I'm really into it. I tried the demo, and I think one of the big things that people are highlighting about this game is the difficulty, right? And I was worried about it when I tried the demo, but I eventually bought the game because I was like, you know what? I don't need another difficult game. Like I said, from what I'm currently playing, like I'm playing Witcher 3, not on the hardest difficulty, but on hard, and I'm playing TCG and getting I'm getting destroyed at times, and I'm
Mm.
playing. You know, I got enough Midnight Suns. Like I have enough thinking that if I'm playing a game that I'm dumpstering a little bit and it has good visuals and a decent story, like I can handle that and it's pretty, I can get through it, like maybe that's what I need. So I bought the game and I liked how the puzzles were working in the game and how the like exploration was working a little bit. But let me just get into it. Some of the things about this game, the exploration, I did like the exploration, but how I play games, I'm not even gonna put this on the devs because it's a beautiful. First of all, let me say this is one of the most beautiful anime games ever. It's like you see these anime games and they have this shaded style, right? Or they have this like cartoony style, and it seems timeless and it seems easier to like get vibrant colors out of. But when I first started playing this game, it's like whatever I saw before as like good graphics, this went a notch higher. And it made me feel good because it was like my eyes still have another level to reach. Because sometimes we say we peaked in terms of graphical quality, but this game is like, no, this is like really beautiful. Like it's gone up a notch, and I really enjoy that. As a person who enjoys graphics, like it's eye candy, for sure. And the cutscenes are well done. Like they put a lot of it. Here we go to the effort thing. There was a lot that was put into the cutscenes. I even was going to show one of the cutscenes, but I'm gonna let that just kind of stand. And so, I really felt like the graphics really went up a notch, and the cutscenes were really great, and the exploration had a huge amount of limit. This is a game where it has a lot of open spaces, but the spaces in which you're walking are very narrow. So I found myself like, let me go over here. I'm a natural person that just doesn't follow like, if you tell me to go over here, I'm going to say, what's over there? And so when I'm doing this, I was running into a lot of invisible walls. And I got frustrated, to be honest. I was just like, let me go over here. I can't go over there. Let me jump over to this rock. Can't do that. Like, okay, I can't do any of this stuff. All right, what can I do? So then I started like interacting with the obvious things. Like they have these like magnifying glasses, and I was clicking on the magnifying glasses, and it was telling me a bunch of like useless information. I mean, some of it was trying to get you to see the world, and that was cool. But some of it was like, like it was the first mission is like the very first thing you do is like find your crew, and it was frustrating because like the crew is literally standing like right next to you. Like there's no finding anybody. Like you just go talk to them. They're sitting right there. So I was like,
you don't have to actually talk to them. You can just walk past them. They'll join you automatically. Cause I was like, I'm not talking to all y'all niggas. Let's go.
Yeah, but like I'm a person that doesn't like go straight. So like as I'm exploring, there wasn't much. I started to feel like this emptiness. So I was like, okay, this is negative. Let me back up because I'm not finding anything worthwhile in the first couple minutes. That's like exploration. But I just started at that point. I just started following the linear path. Like I said, I didn't want to, because I was starting to say, "Oh, this lazy devs. They could have added something or like made it more interactive." Especially when you play these games, these earlier games where it's like Chrono Trigger, or like when you interact with something and it's like something meaningful happens or something, it's something interesting. And there was a couple of magnifying glasses that was interesting. They was like, "Oh, that's this place over here where we came from," or that's that light over there, and with Robin would tell you some kind of historical fact or something. I thought that was cool. So it's not all useless, but like some of it was like I can't even remember. It's like, look at this rock. Oh, it's a rock. Like literally, like it's a rock. Like I'm like, okay, why did you have this prompt to look here? And maybe
I'm willing to bet you can
point.
probably bust that rock open later, and that's why it's showing us here.
Maybe, but initially my impression was like, okay, is this game going to be empty, like where it's like not much going on? But what changed my mind on that is when I started to get a little further, and that's why I started to think this game might be a grower, because as they add things on, you get the hotkey that he can do. You can see the walls that you can break down, and then you can like you can whip around and find the cubes and break stuff. You start to get into the whole groove of collecting and things. It just kind of started off, in a way that I was clicking on a bunch of stuff that I didn't feel like I was getting for my time. I was getting anything worthwhile. So it also like they have these things where these white markers over the characters and you can talk to them. I've since stopped clicking anything that's white because it never says anything. Well, not never, but it rarely says anything that was worth hearing. Because I got to the first town and like they tell you that like, oh, this town, like, you talk to one person, they're like, oh, this town, like we don't have a lot of ships coming in. And like I talked to like 7 people and they all said the same thing. We don't have any ships coming in. And I'm like, and I started to get frustrated because I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to like absorb everything, but it's not much to absorb. Like they're not like all these, like I didn't need to talk, like I didn't need to be baited to talk to all these people. If there's not going to be anything, like even if they're going to say the same thing, maybe they tell a joke or they say something about their family that like to add to the lore or something of this place or something different. And maybe that's, just my perspective for it. But I think some of the prompts in the game are like, it took me a minute to, because I always have this fear that I'm like missing out. Even though I don't read everything, I try to absorb as much of the game as possible. So I always, like I see that marker over there. I'm like, well, maybe this time if I click it, it'll be something interesting. And a couple of times I would say where Robin comes in, I mean, it was like actually moving something forward or giving some extra information. But most of the time it was just fluff talk, kind of like, I didn't change anything or add anything, any context. And some of the characters don't even add their personality to the lines. They're just saying like the same thing. So that I thought that was a little jarring for me from a game that I was going to get into the weeds a little bit. But once I started to ignore all of those things, it started to pick up fast because I started to move faster through the game. And also like in the demo more than the actual game, I tried to like go to places that I wasn't supposed to go, and they did the thing I really hate when you tell me where am I going and you send me to a black screen and put me back. I'm not sure if that happened to you, Greg, but I tried to go off the beaten path, and they were like, "No,
Oh yeah, you can't go here yet. Yeah,
we tell
that's a
you to
thing.
talk to the guy, so
That's
talk to the
common.
guy." Yeah, and I thought, I mean, in it, I had to get over that because this is a linear game, so everything can't be open and just you can do whatever you want, you know. So I had to like put it in my mind that like this game is not do what I want; it's just go to the path, and that's fine. So and I stopped
So it
doing that.
was. How far into the game was that? Because sometimes games will do that until they give you freedom
The
at a certain
actual,
point.
Um,
the actual
that was
shebang.
that was in the demo. When I played the actual game, it happened less. Like I did go off the beaten path quite a bit. But there are
Right.
still parts where sends you back. And my only
Right.
suggestion to that is to add better markers to show that I can't go to an area yet. Then I won't even try. Like in Genshin, they have like clear on the map, like you can't go here. So I won't even try because my fear is that I'll miss some kind of secret. Because I like the reward of if exploration of like, oh, I knocked down that wall, you know, and I didn't know that if you hit this thing, you'll find this thing, the secret or anything like that. And so I try to naturally find secrets, but it's frustrating where if I walk this long way and I go here and it's like, oh, you can't go there, then I have to walk all the way back. Something that could maybe prevent that is if I like save and then go try and then reload the save or something like that. But it really, the exploration really felt like, because some of the reviews said the exploration was good, so maybe it gets better as I go along. But I felt like it was super limited comparatively to what I've played before in other games that are similarly linear to this. So I don't think it's like the strength of the game or even the major focus. So I had to like kind of take that because I really thought there'd be more interactivity. But I'm cool with breaking the boxes, and so now my approach is follow the linear path, break the boxes that I see, and keep it moving. Like I don't even try to, and I started to enjoy the game more because I don't even like I take my mind off of like oh I'm gonna go over here and find this secret wall that has something, because they tell you, Luffy has this hockey thing where if you press the hockey, you'll see something. And so when I first got that ability, I'm like, hockey, 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 hockey. Like, I'm like, I got to find the secret wall. And like, there's just isn't a secret wall. So just accepting that just helped me to like feel bad because I was starting to get anxiety about it. It's like, because I feel like the moment I let up, because I read this one review after I started playing the demo and I bought the game, and the guy was like, you get all these abilities from your other characters and you can find extra treasure and stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, did I miss the extra treasure? Like I had this FOMO feeling like, oh my God. So when I got back on the game, I started switching all the characters and like, it's got to be something extra that I'm missing. And no, I hadn't unlocked it yet. So whatever he was talking about was not in the beginning of the game. Because I literally was walking around with all the characters using their abilities to try to find something, like break some extra box or something. And it just doesn't happen that way. So I think the game is more like, you're not going to miss anything. Just play it straight through. You don't have to worry about like, because when you say exploration, that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, is this exploration as like, I gotta like actually look for something, or is it everything's in front of you? You know what I mean? And in this game, everything is in front of you. Just don't,
Right.
And
There's no secret walls and passages and yeah.
So I think that distinction, like knowing that going forward, before I did it, would save me the frustration. But I don't put that against the game because that's just not how it was designed. But that was what was causing me some of my like frustration when I first started playing this game, because of how I play. I played a lot of open world games. So you tell me explore, like I'm gonna try everything. I'm gonna jump where I can't jump. I'm gonna, look behind that tree. Like that's what I'm gonna do. Where a lot of people would just skip all that stuff. And there was like a cube hidden behind a tree. So there was a little bit of a secret, but not, and that was rewarding, that I was like, oh, I checked behind every tree and I found something, like that's the rewarding of exploration. So I wouldn't say it's the strength, but that's
out in the open.
But yeah, I had to like, get that straight in my head before I can continue this game in a way that was healthy for me. And so once I got that straight, I got to the combat of the game, which, you know, the animations are so true to the show. I love it. You know, they have all the moves. They give you all the moves in the beginning, and then they lose their powers. And so I love that I can like see all their stuff they can do, and it was very cool.
I was wondering about that. Like, I was like,
Are they just gonna give you everything? They're level 40.
Yeah, I mean, I get everything. Yeah. I was like, wow, okay.
But and I don't mean to spoil it for you. But yeah, the powers are great. My problem is it is extremely easy. I know people are saying in the review that it didn't challenge them. Like even when they finished the game didn't challenge them. But I'm starting to get a little worried as I'm playing through because it is. I mean, when I say it's easy, it's like very easy. And I've been looking for like a difficulty option. There isn't one. And like, I kid you not, Venom, I would hit an enemy for 700 and they hit me for one. One damage.
How much HP do you have?
Like 700. And so it feels off, but I'm sure it gets harder. When they say it's not challenging, I'm not sure they don't mean that it's like dumpster like this the whole game.
So, are there difficulty sliders or something like that?
No, there's no difficulty sliders. There's no difficulty option. It's so strange. And it, you know, I have not done one hard fight in this game.
Because I noticed that in the demo, I was like, this is very easy.
Yeah, it's shockingly easy. So you can play it as like a visual novel and like just kind of go, you know, like don't worry about challenge or anything. There's no, and Venom, we were trying to find a word for this. I call it the combat exchange. And I think that's what is the heart of combat is the exchange. Like there is no exchange. Like there's no back and forth. There's no strategy. There's no, there is strategy, right? But it's like, there's no push. Like you can literally like, okay, so they do this thing where you're in different areas and you have a character in an area and they have a disadvantage, right? You can literally swap that character for the character that has the advantage.
Really?
Yeah. So
you just swap like that?
Just swap. Like I'll have.
I did a couple of those, and I was like, "This is cool."
Yeah,
It'd be interesting later on down the line.
I have Zoro. Yeah, I have Zoro against some bats, and like their speed and he's technique, and he's weak to them. I can just swap him for Luffy. No matter if Luffy's in my reserves or in a different area. And they kept saying you have to beat the people in your area to move to the other thing, and there'll be status effects. Well, that happened, but the swap really negates all of that because I can just move the chessboard around. It's like if you're playing chess and you have a queen, you have a pawn, and something's in front of it. Mm-hmm. You can literally move the queen to where the pawn is.
Yeah, you swap it out.
And it's just like, I wonder how this is going to get more difficult because, and I'm sure there will be some, like, I'm hesitant to say there won't be any challenge, like, at all. Like, I'm sure it will get harder, but.
How long have you played?
I've only played for like 4 hours. So I'm only in the first town. Okay. And mostly that took me that long because I had to get over the exploration thing. Like, I spent a lot of time trying to break the exploration, like, and it just isn't anything to it more.
Okay. So your 4 hours is probably like.
Yeah, I didn't spend much time in combat. In fact, as I kept dumpstering everything, because I kept in exploration, you try to find like the hardest monster and see if like you get like there is none of that. So I just started avoiding the monsters because it's just like I'm gonna like one shot them.
It's hard to gauge JRPGs. I do like the JRPGs like 7 to 10 hours before I expect anything to like really start happening.
Yeah, and I had to think back to my Dragon Quest. Remember I told you about Dragon Quest and how it was like super easy, and then you were like, "Well, they have that one does have difficulty options though, and very extensive ones, right?"
Yeah.
And it does get harder. So I was thinking, and the game does remind me of Dragon Quest. So I was like, you know, I'm not
the monster designers.
So
whoever designed the monsters is on it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna withhold my judgment on the difficulty, but I would say that is one of the early game things that, you know, it's going to vary, of course, between people. That's why I can't really put a number on the game. It's hard because the cutscenes are top notch. Like you could literally play this as like a visual novel, and just if you like One Piece, you can just follow the story, and it's just fine. Like it's high quality, man. Like when they cut to the government, I'm sure you saw the government when they were in
the beginning.
in the beginning, the lighting, and oh man, it's just so good. Like it's just so good to look at. Like and the voice acting is on point. You know, like, and so I'm thinking I'll beat this game in like shoot 2 days, and you know, if it's just like this, like I'll just run through this game and I'll get the high quality anime cutscenes, you know, which is even higher quality than the show.
This is a full price game, or is it discounted at all? It's 60.
I'm sorry.
I'm thinking about getting it. I said, is this a full price game? I'm not sure how much
full price. And with that being said, if the combat doesn't improve, like when I beat the game, I would say this will be a deep discount game, because even though the cutscenes are even higher quality than the anime, like there's one cutscene in the beginning that's just dope. Like they introduce this new character and he's just so good. Even though that's like worth something, the combat being, I think, a good chunk of the game. If it's no difficulty to it, I wouldn't say it's a full price, like worth that. But at the same time, you know, there is a lot of quality to this game, like where you feel like, even though I feel like I'm one-shotting everything, you feel like you're giving something so high quality that it just feels like you're on a roller coaster, like a theme park roller coaster in a way. It's just you're not getting any of that from the. I mean, even though the combat is easy, if you do the skills, you know, they look really good. You know, like it looks good. So if looks good is enough, then like I felt like from my first impression, it looks really good. Like this game is, it's just it doesn't spare the budget on the cutscenes and the facial expressions. The characters are funny. It's really like sets a bar for like cutscenes and just like how you're moving through each of the scenes in the game, not just the cutscenes, but like the scenes when they're standing still and talking and stuff. Like it's really high quality. But one of the issues that I will say is the plot. I'm not sure how often this is done, but like one of the characters is the game. Does that make sense? Like she is the game. She's the reason the game exists. Like, and it just seems kind of crazy because like you start off with these powers and she takes them, and then you're trying to get your powers back. Like if she didn't do this, like there would be no game.
No, that's actually kind of common in games like this.
Okay. I didn't know if
It's
that
like
was...
one of these. I know it's the anime games. It's like, all right, you have this whole thing with, you know, this whole cast of characters, and you can't really change anything. So what do? You introduce a new character who pretty much centralizes everything. She's gone, everything goes back to normal.
Yeah.
It's kind of common.
While I do like the other new character they introduced, she is kind of like a weak character. Like they're like, why'd you do this? Oh, because pirates are bad, and I just assumed you were bad. And I was like, I guess, okay, I guess I'll go. That makes sense, I guess. It's like, okay, but I don't know. It just kind of like, she's kind of problematic to me. And her powers are just so strong. Like, she can take away powers. She's just kind of like a problematic character so far. I'm not really loving her. But I'm giving her a chance though. Like, I'm not really like writing it off, but like, I'm not really loving it so far. Like, because with the One Piece being such a great story, I didn't know why they wouldn't just let you play the story just straight out. Like, I think One Piece fans would be happy with just playing the story. And with this
actually, no. I don't think I brought this up before. I like when anime games, like, you know,
do alternative stories.
Yeah, because
okay.
I mean, One Piece is not as bad as Dragon Ball Z, but in Dragon Ball Z games, it's like, give it a rest. Like, somebody can come up with something better than, at least interesting to play through. That's not like, you know, well, let's go do this and I already know what's going to happen. What's the point of playing the game if I know what's going to happen?
Right, right.
The One Piece game I played on the Wii, I think it's called like Unlimited Adventure, Unlimited Cruise. It did it perfectly. They just like this game, they had like a centralizing character whose whole thing was that the characters lost their memories
Yeah,
and they had to fight through. So it's not like you're necessarily reliving the same scenario, the same story, but every once in a while, it's like, okay, well, let's go into your memories and you can fight Whitebeard or Blackbeard, where the hell you want to fight. You know
yeah.
what I mean? From the story. That way everybody's included, but it's like it's kind of its own thing.
Right, right.
And
That's
that's just
kind of exactly what this is, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so far, I would say I'm just to wrap this up. This is so far. It's been, besides me getting over the exploration thing and not loving Lim, the new character. It's been giving me what I was expecting so far. Like, I'm getting One Piece, just not the whole 10,000 episodes. Like, I'm getting just the small piece and chunk of what I want from One Piece. And I think for people who are fans of One Piece but not really like super fans, I think, because we know fans of One Piece will enjoy this game. Well, majority of them, it seems like they will. But like for anybody else who's not like a super One Piece fan, this is a nice way, because people have gripes with One Piece, whether it being too long or some of the gripes that I have, but they want to experience it in some way. I think this is doing a good job of that. Like, it really is, because you're getting essential. Like, one thing I love, Luffy can go to different gears, and I just think that you can, and then when you camp, you can like change the characters' outfits. I just think this gives the vibe what you would want from that so far, and I'm enjoying the experience. And the fact that it's not like a super hard thing fits me perfectly right now. The fact that I have other priorities, it like I can jump in and get significant part. Like, once I got over the exploration thing, I was flying through this game, just flying through it. Like, I think the last like 30 minutes, I just completely was flying through this game, and it was fun. Like, I was like, man, it's a nice, relaxing thing to do. It's not like a super grindy,
Right.
it's just, if you want a nice little slice of One Piece, this is it. And it's pretty well done. The animations, the cutscenes, they're really well done. So I'm gonna let you go, Greg, but Venom, from what you've seen so far, do you have anything you want to add or heard? I don't know if Venom's there, but go ahead, Greg.
I don't really have much to add. I was kind of interjecting while you was talking, but yeah, I haven't really played it yet. I just had the demo, played a little bit of it. Like I said, I'm a One Piece fan, but I like it.
Yeah.
So,
aren't the animations just so good? Like, especially like Zoro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I haven't actually got Zoro yet. I'm still trying to rescue Nami.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really well done. I'll just say that. So let's move to the last part of this. What we're looking forward to. Venom's back. Venom, I don't know if you had anything to add on the One Piece from what you said. I know you haven't played it, or I don't know if you plan on playing it at all, but I don't know if you had anything to add.
No,
Okay.
Nothing to add on that.
Awesome. Upcoming games. So this is where we peer into the future of anything we're interested in, whether or not we're going to get it or not. Things that look interesting. I'm just going to start this off. This year is insane with video games. Like,
Really?
Man, there's so many. Like Wolong, Fallen Dynasty, we got Wild Hearts, we got Forspoken, we got Hogwarts, we got even some remakes like Resident Evil 4 remake, Blue Protocol is supposed to be dropping, DLCs for Horizon, DLC for Cyberpunk, all stuff that I'm interested in. But the next thing that's on the horizon for me is going to be whether or not I'm getting the Switch to play Fire Emblem Engage, because I really love the way it looks and the way it plays. I've been watching so much content on it. And whether or not I'm going to, and I'm definitely getting Forspoken. I've decided I'm going to get it. So those are the two things that's coming up pretty soon. But after that, we got Wolong and Wild Hearts, which I'm be getting. And I think Monster Hunter Rise I'm going to skip, just because it's going to be between Wild Hearts and Rise, and I played World, so I feel like I have to circle back to Rise, and I feel like by the time I circle back to Rise, it'll be free. I really do think that it'll be free. So
No, what do you mean free? Like a free play game or?
yeah, I think they're going to offer it, on the PS Store because it's like $30 now or $40 now.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I do want to play it. I just don't. I wouldn't have the time, and I would rather try the new IP that I haven't. I would rather get into Wild Hearts.
No, for sure.
Even if Wild Hearts
World and Rise
falls
are
on his
similar.
face. But so how about you, Venom? Anything I know you're looking to Wolong for sure.
Yeah, that's the one I'm most interested. I'm trying to find a list actually. Of like releases. I can find one for this month, but I can't find one for upcoming games. Okay.
I think
here.
Forspoken and Fire Emblem are the two, and then after that we got a couple February releases: Hogwarts, Wolong, Wild Hearts. Those are the ones that and Dead Space also, and then Atomic Heart looks interesting. It's a first person joint, but I didn't really look too much into that.
Yeah, they've put some videos out on that recently, so they're starting to do their deep dives on that
Final
and
Fantasy
releasing
16.
previews.
Oh my god, Final Fantasy 16.
There's I think they're are they remakes or remasters of the PSP Persona games? So Persona 3 and Persona 4 Golden.
Oh, they're remasters, not remakes.
Remasters, yeah.
Honestly, not even remaster, just support pretty much. It was exactly the same.
That's interesting.
Right.
Now that I'm looking forward to because I've been wanting to play for Golden for many, many, many years. I'm just not buying a leader for. I refuse.
So yeah, I found a list, but it doesn't combine consoles, which is annoying. So, just skimming down the Switch one now. It doesn't look like there's anything big on the horizon there besides the Persona remakes, and then yeah, like you said, Fire Emblem. But yeah, I think Wolong is the big one for me. I'm undecided on Forspoken. I really should play the demo. I probably will do that this weekend actually, because my Midnight Suns obsession is starting to wane, which means I need to finish the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll play the demo and see if I jump into that. Wolong would be number one, and then Wild Hearts I'll definitely keep an eye on, just because I do love me some Monster Hunter, and having someone else try and attempt that genre in a theme that I'm interested in, with the sort of Japanese themed combat and stuff, is right up my alley.
For sure. All right, guys. Well, it's been great. I managed to make it through this with not too much background noise, which is a miracle, with there being no doors. Thank you guys, and thank you guys for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to hear more, please let us know in the comment section below, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.